Pastor Paul Teske has over 40 years of ministry experience as a church planter, senior parish pastor, Navy chaplain, and seminar speaker. He has ministered in over 60 countries and has appeared on numerous television and radio shows. He has collected, over the years, a wealth of knowledge and understanding about kingdom work in different areas of ministry, and now makes himself available as a mentor to impart wisdom into those who seek his counsel. If you're at a place in your life where you need wisdom, invest a few minutes of your time and watch Rev Up with Rev.
Welcome to Rev Up with Rev. I want to share with you some thoughts from my heart that may be helpful for you. Have you ever played the blame game with yourself? You know, something goes wrong or it doesn't go right. You begin to point fingers of blame at somebody or something. And that's what happened in John chapter 9 with Jesus and his disciples. The disciples came by and they saw a blind man. And they said, is he blind because of something he did or something his parents did? Immediately they made the assumption that he was blind because of some failing on the part of himself or his parents. And Jesus corrected them. He said, no, he's not blind for either of those reasons. He's blind because the Son of Man has use of him right now. Now, when you hear that, you might think, well, that's not fair. I mean, why would Jesus make him blind all those years so he could glorify himself? Well, you need to put it in perspective. God is the creator and we're the created. The Bible in both the Old and New Testament say God is the potter and we're the pot. So if God chooses to make us in a certain way or shape, that's his prerogative. We don't get a vote. We are not in a democracy with our God. We're in a theocracy where he rules. Paul said, count it joy if God uses your suffering to glorify himself, to bring honor and praise to God. And so this blind man, even though he's blind all those years, ultimately was used by Jesus to bring glory and praise to Jesus. In fact, after that event in John chapter 9, the whole thing breaks open. And the Pharisees and the community of Israel around him began to question the deity, and not the deity, but the power of Jesus and his messiahship. So what I want you to remember is, look, when God chooses to use you, count it an honor. If he chooses to use your brokenness to glorify himself, thank God that he chose you. 2,000 years ago, when Jesus used this blind man to glorify himself, that man's story is still remembered today. It's recorded in the Gospel of John. 2,000 years later, this guy, because of the price he paid for those few years, is now remembered for millenniums. The impact of his story is touching you right now as I share this with you. So when something in your life is going wrong, don't blame people. The grace of God is sufficient to sustain you, to cover a multitude of your sins. Instead, turn to God and say, Lord, how do you want to use this? How can I glorify you in this event? What do you want me to do to bring praise and honor to your name? And begin to do what Paul did. Count it a privilege that God's chosen you to serve him in such a profound and important way. You know, we have a whole eternity to live lives that are free of pain, sorrow, sufferings, and tear. But in the meantime, if we have to endure something for the Lord to glorify him, think like Paul thought. Let it be a privilege and an honor. I know it's hard, but by his grace, which is sufficient, he can sustain you through this.
Thanks for taking the time to watch our weekly Rev Up with Rev. If you have a topic question, please email us at info@paulteske.com and we'll respond by blog, Facebook, and Twitter. Also, check out our website at paulteske.com. God bless and have a great day.